I'm Doug Lapchuk. I am currently the president of the Saskatchewan Volunteer Firefighters Association. I'm Deputy Fire Chief in Bilgoni as a volunteer firefighter. I am proud and honored to be involved with the program that Saskatchewan Workers' Compensation Board is working on to help bring awareness to cancer situation for firefighters. And I am wholeheartedly behind this initiative, and I believe it to be very important for all firefighters in the province of Saskatchewan, whether you're career or volunteer. I've been involved in volunteer fire service since the age of 16, just shy of 40 years. And in that 40 years, I've seen the changes that have come about, just speaking specifically to protective gear and trying to prevent other injuries.
My name is Lloyd Zwak. I'm the president of our provincial association, the Saskatchewan Professional Firefighter and Paramedic Association. Our health is non-negotiable. The issue or the past behaviors of keeping dirty protective equipment around the station for you to wear again is not acceptable. That equipment needs to be cleaned, it needs to be laundered, it needs to be put back together properly. And these are all things that are going to prevent you or decrease the likelihood of you contracting a cancer. It's no longer a sign that you've been a real tough guy going into a hot fire. That's no longer acceptable. You know, if you're not willing to do it for yourself, do it for your coworkers, your families, everything of that nature. Cancer does not discriminate. It doesn't matter if you're a career fireman, professional fireman, or a volunteer. It does not matter. You need to start taking actions.
I guess some of the advice that we try to give our guys is that your health is extremely important, whether it be mental health or physical health or the cancers that are coming out of what we do, and that will provide you with whatever it is that you need to survive. But we need you to use the equipment that we give you in the proper way and to not expose yourself unnecessarily to toxins that either going to make you sick initially or over the long term. So it's, like I say, we try to mentor our young firefighters as much as we can. And some of them, depending on what attitude they come in with, they're a little harder to mentor, some of them, but I think a lot of them today get it versus when I first started 20 years ago. It's a different mindset today, that it's more of they want to protect themselves. They want to make sure that they're safe before they do anything. And I think it's easier today than it was in the past. So I guess we want to make sure and provide them whatever it is that we can, and whether that be education or equipment and training to be able to go home at the end of the day and have a life of with your family at the end of this career, because that's what it's all about. Once we're done doing what we're doing, it's all about your family and going home to them.
When we return from these fire calls, generally the priority seems to be tied to getting apparatus back in service, equipment cleaned, things of that nature. We need to take a mindset of the most important piece of equipment that department has, and that's you, your body.
We train and train and train in case there's a fire. There is no training in case there's a cancer. The only thing you can do is be proactive, be very diligent in the steps that you take, and make sure that you understand that there will be support for you if you end up having the diagnosis. But it's the old statement that a pound of prevention is worth an ounce of cure. So the more that we can do as firefighters, whether it's something as simple as making sure that we're cleaning the inside of our vehicles between each call, that we're getting rid of contaminants whenever possible, when we're doing everything that we do throughout our career as a firefighter to make sure that we do it as safely as is humanly possible. And with Saskatchewan Workers' Compensation Board, a large amount of their drive is going to be the prevention. They don't want to be, working on somebody who's already got it. Let's nip it in the bud to begin with. Let's get Let's get our mindset around the fact that, yeah, we train to fight fires, so let's train to fight for our own life. Let's train to go and have our tests and be proactive and clean our gear and clean our equipment and do everything that we possibly can to mitigate our risks. It's no different than entering a house fire. You don't rush in just a pair of jeans and a shirt because it's unsafe. You wear proper protective equipment. Fighting cancer, trying to prevent cancer is the same thing. It's a continual fight. You have to have the proactive mindset where you are going to do everything that you can do to make sure that you remain healthy. And so it isn't out of the norm or out of the realm of human expectation or human common sense to protect ourselves and take care of ourselves. And that's what we all need to do. It doesn't matter our station, doesn't matter whether we're a hall that does 2 calls or 2,000 calls. We're all in this together, and we all have to work together to make sure that we come to the best, safest way of fighting a fire.
Your health is much more talked about today than it was in the past. And like I mentioned, some of the things that we did in the past were not necessarily a badge of honor. They're more of a badge of stupidity, I look at now. But it is what it is of the day. But yeah, anybody that I can talk to now, would definitely like to tell them to take it seriously. It's your life, and you want to make sure you have a long, healthy one. As a firefighter, you kind of look at the chief officers as the leaders of the departments. You get to a point where you move up into a lieutenant and a captain, and you get a little bit more responsibility. But nobody really tells you what it's like until you get into the chief's position, where there's nobody above you. You're solely responsible for the health and safety of 28 of these guys in this room. I don't ever want to have to go to somebody and explain to them what happened, that things went wrong, and I could have prevented it. Like, that does weigh heavily, a lot, every day. But yeah, that one's a tough one, because that's on my mind all the time.
In 2015, I was fortunate enough to be one of the presenters of a helmet to one of the firefighters at the Canadian Fallen Firefighter Memorial in Ottawa. And that firefighter had passed from cancer that was attributed strictly to fire service. And it was an honor. It was very hard to stand and present this helmet to the grieving family. And anything that we can do to make sure that I don't have to do something like that again, or somebody doesn't have to be presenting helmets to the family of a deceased firefighter who passed because of cancer, would be phenomenal. And that's where this program, I believe, is very strong and very positive.
The end result of progressive cancer in your body, unfortunately, is death. Generally an untimely death. In my position within the province, I have attended Colorado Springs. I've attended many members throughout the province to their home locals, their funerals, their services, their memorials. And to say that attending the memorial in Colorado and our members' deaths has not changed your life, your perspective, would be wrong. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to attend someone's untimely death. You know sometimes their family, you know their spouse, their partner, their children. Never enjoyed seeing their kids grow up, have families of their own, never got to hold a grandchild. It's very sad. It is. And you know, with this job, unfortunately, you are exposed to a lot of chemicals, a lot of carcinogens. And if we can just reduce that so that these type of events are not the norm, but a rare instance, let's do it. Let's do it for everybody.
Actually, there's quite a good relationship between WCB and the SAFC. Right now, it's part of with the presumptive legislation on the cancer that are being now covered by WCB, but also with the mental health part of it as well. So we do sit on committees together where we're at the point where we know each other by name, and the relationship is a really strong one, I think, and it's building I think more and more every year, just because of the fact that we're getting to know each other. We're getting to find out what are the different ways that we can work together to provide whatever it is that we need to keep our firefighters safe. And like I said, whether that be mental health, SISM response, as well as with the presumptive legislation when it comes to cancer treatments of the different cancers that we're exposed to.
The goals of this program through Saskatchewan Workers' Compensation Board is the education of the risks that are involved in fire service, making the firefighters aware that they are at risk and that they are not as tough as they think they are. And if they do end up with the diagnosis, that they are there to be supported, both mentally and physically, in all aspects of their health.